Right.
Speaking of corruption, though, I do want to move on to our next story here and look at, here's something that speaks to merit. Our Republican legislators in this state are trying to redraw our maps under pressure from Donald Trump, not so the best candidate wins, so the chosen candidate wins in both Republican and Democratic designated districts. So, we've been following this one for weeks now, ever since the president encouraged Hoosier Republicans to call a special session to gerrymander our congressional maps mid-district unconstitutionally. So, this week, on Wednesday, Senate Republicans met for a couple hours behind closed doors at the State House. Routine caucus meeting. These happen fairly frequently, but not very often outside of session like we are now. Senators on their way to the meeting refused to answer where they stood on changing maps or where they believe the caucus as a whole is on the matter, according to Mirror Indy. So, voting rights groups are escalating pressure on lawmakers to leave the maps as they are. Billboard ads are popping up around the state lobbying against a special session, and voting groups turned in nearly 9,000 petition signatures on Tuesday, calling on Governor Braun, House Speaker Houston, and Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray to ignore pressure from the Trump administration to change the maps. Friday, House Republicans did the same thing, holding a brief meeting just a couple days after their Senate counterparts. Now, Capitol Chronicle editor-in-chief Nikki Kelly told WTHR 13 that her sources are telling her so far the maps, the votes, aren't there to change the maps. She says, quote, "My understanding in some of these caucuses, and we've had several, each side has had several now, is that many are still against that, perhaps even a majority, but they keep meeting to try and see if they can get some people to flip and move to the camp that they would support it. So really, it's just a wait and see right now." But we did get word this week that one Indiana Republican lawmaker has flipped from a, quote, hard no to a, quote, hell yes. Seymour Rep. Jim Lucas announced his reversal on Facebook and X just 2 weeks after he and his colleagues met with President Donald Trump on redistricting. So Lucas's endorsement prompted criticism from one of his colleagues, Kokomo Representative Heath Van Natter, a fellow Republican, who said, quote, "I knew you would fold. Maybe you should keep your powder dry next time." Now, Lucas didn't respond. Instead, on Thursday morning, he posted a lengthy explanation of his reasoning to Facebook. He says it wasn't the Kirk assassination or this Ukrainian refugee in North Carolina that caused him to change his mind. It was his own back surgery. He credited the Indiana Spine Hospital for being physician-owned and patient-focused, and says this is the way healthcare should be. If Democrats take control of the House, he wrote, places like this might go under, and the rest of Trump's reforms will be, quote, dead in the water. We owe it to ourselves and future generations to give Trump this reform possibility because the status quo from both parties is destroying America. That is why I'm a hell yeah on redistricting. Now, I should note here, Indiana Spine Hospital and its physician owners are huge Republican donors in the state of Indiana. Let's see. D, this is you, right? Thoughts on any of the redistricting? Thoughts on Lucas personally?
Oh, we could be here a long time, but I know there's football, so I gotta. As we all know, Trish Whitcomb ran last cycle against Jim Lucas because of his drunkenness, his public drunkenness, his known drunkenness, his criminal drunkenness,
his drunken drivingness, yes.
Drunken drivingness, having accidents, flipping his gun at students who were up at the State House trying to say, please do something about gun safety. Um, I don't believe a word that comes out of that guy's mouth, to be quite honest with you. So I'm absolutely unshocked that he would back off of his, anything to get a little bit of press, and he sure knows how to get it one way or the other. Um, but as far as
He sure does.
redistricting is what I would call cheating. It's what I would call rigging an election. Nobody on this call, or who's listening, or who ought to be listening, is for cheating and rigging elections. That's the entire idea of a democracy, if you will, is to have free and fair elections. And so this is not just an attempt, but it's an utter push to cheat. And I don't like it.
Yes. I think all of us on this call would like to see gerrymandering go away across the board nationwide.